Well, things just took an unfortunate turn for the Eagles, as a mistake-filled loss to the Broncos has left a lot of questions that have to be answered, as Jalen Hurts and the offense had another up-and-down performance, and there were a couple glaring problems. So what do the Birds have to do to fix it, and also, how much blame do the refs deserve? Plus, a surprise Eagle showed out in his Philly debut, while a couple other guys also had nice performances. So let's talk about that and everything else from the Eagles' loss to the Broncos, starting right now. Well, this stinks. I mean, the Eagles finally managed to lose the game, and it was really all their fault. I mean, they had this game won. They had the Broncos right where they wanted them. They had them beat, and were one punch away from knocking them out. But mistakes, penalties, and unfortunate turns of events left the door cracked and allowed the Broncos to mount an insane fourth-quarter comeback in which they put up 18 unanswered points to give the Eagles their first loss in a very long time. And as much as the Broncos deserve credit for hanging in there, fighting, and pulling out the win, there is no question that this loss is on the Eagles themselves. I mean, again, they had the win right there for the taking, but there were just ultimately way too many mistakes and self-inflicted errors that ended up costing them this game.
We shot ourselves in the foot a lot. Left a couple plays out there we wasn't on the same page.
I think that it was more about you guys beating yourselves than it was for
Yeah, for sure. Self-inflicted wounds. We had 2 in our room, 2 false starts in our room. I think we had 3 false starts offensively as a whole. We just shooting ourselves in the foot. That's all it was. We don't do that, we win that game.
Yeah, obviously, little things, that we did to ourselves. Being on different pages, a couple penalties where we have a nice run, it gets called back. We hit down the field, it gets called back. Things like that need to be cleaned up. Obviously, missed one down the field deep. The game could have went different, and offensively, I feel like we let the team down for sure. It's just execution-wise, having penalties, getting behind the sticks, things like that. Plays being called back always hurts you when they get behind the sticks. But there was plays to be made out there that we didn't make, and that ultimately decided the game.
Yeah, it's frustrating because most of the things were self-inflicted, and we beat ourselves, especially in the second half. First, start with ourselves. The self-inflicted wounds, clean that up, and if they make plays, they're gonna make plays. They're in the NFL too, but we got to come out and not let whatever defense dictate what we do on offense, and just really just have urgency about it, getting it fixed. Unfortunately, this loss sucks. Last week I said we learned from winning or we learned from losing. So now we're on the other side of it, and so now we have another opportunity. We have another opportunity, short week, to turn it around and get this thing going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear the guys take accountability and say what we were all thinking. Because, again, penalties, unforced errors, and poor execution is ultimately what lost the Birds this ballgame. I mean, in that second half alone, the Eagles had 6 penalties at crucial times, all of which contributed to the loss in their own way, not to mention some of the key mistakes that they made. And, it sucks because obviously, like I said, they had the win right there for the taking, and even with the blown lead and all the self-inflicted wounds, there was honestly a lot of good to take away from this game for the Eagles. I mean, things started off fairly well, as on just the Birds' second drive of the game, a Saquon Barkley 17-yard run got things going for Philly's offense, and from there, Jalen Hurts in the passing game really got going, with some nice throws to AJ Brown, Grant Calcaterra, and DeVonta Smith. Some of these plays were very nicely designed, others were dialed up perfectly to beat the blitz, and while ultimately Calcaterra got banged up and the drive did stall, with Philly's offense settling for 3 points in the red zone for the first time all season, it was really just still exciting to see the Eagles' offense get rolling the way they did on what was a nice 12-play, 70-yard drive. And it was even better to see them carry that momentum into their next drive, as Philly's offense got rolling once again, first with A.J. Brown catching this 11-yard slant on a tight window throw from Jalen Hurts, and then on a 3rd and 17, Hurts and DeVonta Smith completely saved the possession with this 52-yard bomb down the right sideline after Smitty had beat Riley Moss, and this was an absolutely huge play from these two that set the Birds up in scoring position. And one pass interference penalty later, and the Birds were set up right on the goal line, and Jalen Hurts hit Dallas Goedert for the touchdown to put the Birds up 10-3 to cap off what was a nice 7-play, 90-yard drive. So yeah, again, it wasn't perfect, but there was a lot to like from that first half offensively, and things started off great in the second half as well. As first, Jalen Hurts hit DeVonta Smith on a slant for a nice gain of 21 yards. And by the way, DeVonta Smith was awesome in this game. I mean, this entire past week, a lot has been made about the Eagles' struggles in the passing game, and specifically about the lack of usage for A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith, as reports surfaced before the game that both of those guys have been frustrated with their roles in the offense, which that came as no surprise. So to see them go out and get the targets that they deserved was great, especially for Smitty, who finished the game with 8 catches for a season-high 114 yards. However, it wasn't Smitty or AJ who capped off this drive for the Birds, and rather, it was Saquon Barkley, as he caught this wheel route after a little stutter go for a 47-yard touchdown after beating the former Eagle Alex Singleton. And while Barkley obviously deserves a tremendous amount of credit for making this play and helping put the Birds up 17-3, the person who deserves the most credit for this play is none other than Jalen Hurts, as you can clearly see him here making some audibles at the line of scrimmage and checking into this play. And after the game, Saquon Barkley confirmed that Jalen Hurts was in fact the one who drew up that play call. So massive credit to him. It just goes to show you how much Jalen Hurts can influence this offense and how smart of a player he is. And overall, Jalen Hurts had a really, really good game, as Kevin Patullo and the Eagles coaches put the offense in his hands, and he delivered time and time again, as he completed 23 of a whopping 38 pass attempts for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a passer rating of 100.8. And as we'll get to later, those numbers could have been even higher, but overall, again, there's no doubt that it was a really good game for Jalen Hurts and the pass offense at times. But that's why it's such a shame how they let things fall apart in the second half, and especially in that fourth quarter. Because, as I said earlier, offensive miscues, penalties, and a lack of focus and execution ultimately wound up losing the Birds this game, and there's perhaps no bigger example of a mistake that cost the Eagles than the missed touchdown to A.J. Brown. As 2 drives after the Saquon score, the Birds had the chance to completely put this game away, as Jalen Hurts went deep down the middle of the field for A.J. Brown, and he was wide open for a touchdown that would have put the Birds up 24-3 to pretty much seal the game, but the ball unfortunately ended up being just a little bit too far, and it fell incomplete. And looking back at the replay, you can clearly see that A.J. Brown slowed down in the middle of his route, which is what caused it to be incomplete. So obviously, that is a huge mistake there, and one that A.J. knows is a big missed opportunity.
From my point of view, we just missed,
It looked like you slowed up on the play. Did you not think the ball was coming your way, or what happened with that?
It's not that I didn't think the ball was coming. When I looked up, I didn't see the ball, and I looked back, I didn't see the ball, and then the ball was thrown. So, like I said, we just missed.
Did you guys talk after the play about maybe if it miscommunication? What happened?
No.
In a game like this that is that close, is that one of those plays that you'll kind of think about in this one?
Yeah, because it's a big play, but there's so much more that you can look at and determine what we didn't do well at.
Yeah, I mean, this play wasn't the only reason that the Eagles lost the game, no doubt about that, but there's also no question that it really did hurt them a lot, as if they had scored a touchdown there, that probably would have put the game too far out of reach for the Broncos to be able to come back. And mind you, sure, things did get tough at the end in the fourth quarter, but the defense really did their job in this game. I mean, through 3 quarters, they had held the Broncos to just 3 points. I mean, they were doing good against both the pass and the vaunted Broncos rushing attack, and after that field goal in the first quarter, they forced 6 straight punts from Denver. So, as much as they did fall apart in the end, they very much put the Eagles in position to win this game. And one guy I do want to highlight specifically is edge rusher Azeez Ojulari, as after being inactive for the first 4 games of the season, the former Giant showed up big time in his first game action, as he played 34 snaps and made several nice plays, including getting this tackle for loss on RJ Harvey after setting the edge against the run, and this near 3rd down sack and forced incompletion. I mean, that was a nice hit on the quarterback there. And I mean, it makes you question why Ojulari was inactive for the first 4 games to begin with, and it also inflates my ego a bit because I've been saying all season that I think Azeez Ojulari could offer a lot to this defense when he finally got his opportunity. So, he did, and he made the most of it, and after that performance, I definitely would expect him to remain active moving forward. Still though, at the end of the game, when it mattered the most, the defense just unfortunately could not get the job done, as they allowed 3 straight scoring drives in the fourth quarter, the first being a long touchdown drive in which the Broncos ran all over the Philly defense to pull it to 17-10, and the second being another touchdown drive where the Broncos made some big plays through the air, Courtland Sutton really made some difference-making catches in tough spots, and eventually Evan Ingram got into the end zone for the touchdown, and Sean Payton decided to go for 2, and they converted via this Bo Nix pass to Troy Franklin on the outside, who had beat Kelee Ringo. And I do want to say, it wasn't the greatest performance from Kelee Ringo, as he got picked on a bit more in his second start and allowed 4 catches on 6 targets for 55 yards, and 3 of them were for first downs. But here's the thing. Yes, he did have some rough moments, with that 2-point conversion being the most notable one. He has to learn, he has to grow, he has to get better. There's no question about it, but in no way can we expect him to be perfect, and I don't think this was a horrible performance by any means. I mean, I think us as Eagles fans, we've gotten a little bit spoiled just having star players at pretty much every single position, when in reality, this is more what a serviceable cornerback looks like across the NFL. So, I think we just have to accept that. Again, I don't think it was a horrible performance from Kelee Ringo, and he should only get better as he continues to play more games. So, that's all I want to say about that. But yeah, no question, giving up that 2-point conversion was a backbreaker, especially since it gave the Broncos the lead. And then this is where another one of the big storylines from this game comes into play, that being the penalties. As before this drive, the Eagles had a holding call from Brett Toth that put them behind the sticks and stalled things out, and then on the drive after the Broncos took the lead, Tyler Steen was caught illegally downfield, which wiped out a first down and set the Eagles back. And then on 4th and 4, Jalen Hurts and DeVonta Smith made another spectacular play, this time connecting on a 30-yard deep shot, but that was wiped out as well because of an illegal shift from Saquon Barkley. I mean, there's a strong possibility that if the Eagles don't commit these penalties, they go down the field here, they run some clock, they score a touchdown, take back the lead, and ultimately go on to win this game, but they just shot themselves in the foot. And then back out on defense, I guess you could say they did a similar thing, although this is where some questionable calls from the officials come into play as well. As not only did the refs wipe away what was probably an intentional grounding penalty on Bo Nix that would have completely changed this game and stalled Denver's drive if it went the other way, but they also called unnecessary roughness on Zack Baun for this quote-unquote late hit on RJ Harvey on what would have been a 3rd down stop for the Birds, and instead gave the Broncos 15 yards. And I mean, was he a little bit late? Sure, but what's he supposed to do here? Like, Harvey's fighting for yards, the first down marker is literally right there, and Baun's just running in trying to make a play. It's not malicious at all, and when he does make contact, it's not forceful at all. So, I personally think that this is a terribly soft call. I don't know what they expect Zack Baun to do in this situation, and it really hurt the Eagles. Now, luckily, they were able to hold the Broncos to just a field goal, giving the Eagles offense one final chance. And a 24-yard completion to Jahan Dotson gave the Eagles some life with very little time remaining. However, this incomplete deep shot to Dallas Goedert kind of took that life away, because I don't care who you are or what team you wanted to win this game, this is pass interference, and I don't know how you don't call that if you're the referees, so that really did cost the Eagles again, but they still had a chance for one more shot, and they almost converted, but A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith both ended up being in the same place, and low-key, AJ kind of made this catch harder on Smitty, not saying it was his fault at all, because, it's kind of crazy in there, they're both just trying to get the ball, but still weird, and with that, the Eagles had lost their first game of the season and fell to 4-1. And look, some people might want to blame the refs, and not saying that there's not some validity to that, but I will say that's not why the Eagles lost this game. The Eagles lost this game because of mistakes, offensive miscues, penalties, poor play calling, poor execution, just all self-inflicted wounds that ultimately came back to bite them in the end. And it sucks, but it is what it is. So now they have some real adversity, and they gotta respond. And definitely glad to hear the guys aren't backing down from that.
Now we have adversity, really adversity. Like our first real adversity. Like we lost a football game. We haven't lost a football game since Washington last year. We got a lot of guys banged up. We gotta get healthy, and we gotta come to work. That's the thing we have about this team, though. We got a lot of great leaders and a lot of great talent, but we have super competitive people too. And it's not going to sit well with anyone in this locker room, and we're going to get better from it.
The Eagles will now have a great opportunity ahead of them to bounce back as they turn right around and play the New York Giants in just 3 nights on Thursday Night Football. And preparation has already started for that game, right after this one to be exact, as you can see them right here already in recovery right after the game came to a close. And, hopefully they can bounce back there and fix some of the issues that plague them in this one. And I will say, one glaring issue that absolutely has to get better, and I've been saying this all season, is the run game. I mean, Saquon Barkley just cannot have only 6 carries in an entire ball game, And look, I'm 100% cool if the Eagles want to pass the ball more, that's fine, but you still got to find a healthy balance between the two, especially with a player as good as Saquon in a game that you were leading for the majority. So the play calling just has to be better there. That said, the run game execution has also just been so poor, especially by the offensive line, which is clearly banged up. Landon Dickerson obviously exited this game early, and I think he should probably sit out for a while now. And overall, they just have not played up to standards. So I don't know what needs to change there, but they just have to be better moving forward. And overall, as a team, they're going to have to be much better as well if they want to bounce back this Thursday. And also, in regards to the run game, we actually got some breaking news here on Monday night, as the Eagles' first injury report of the week came out, as of course they're going to play again in just a few days on Thursday. And while the Eagles didn't actually practice, and the report was just an estimation of what things would have looked like if there was a practice, Saquon Barkley was actually designated as a DNP with a knee injury. And obviously, if he wasn't able to go on Thursday night versus the Giants, that would be a major hit to the Eagles' offense, and any hope of getting the run game on track might be lost for Thursday night. But luckily, Elliott Shore-Parks did report that Saquon is sore, and that's what the injury was, but he does plan to play against the Giants. So, we'll see how this progresses throughout the week, but again, definitely does seem like he should play, but still something to monitor. So I'm curious to hear where your guys' confidence level is at and what all your thoughts are following the Eagles' loss to the Broncos. So put all those down in the comments below. And also, if you did enjoy this video and you don't want to miss any other Eagles coverage coming throughout the rest of the season, then make sure you subscribe and you turn on notifications. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss anything. And also, leave a like down below because it really does help me out so much, guys. Let's see if we can get to at least 500 likes on today's video. That would be greatly appreciated. And also, hit the hype button because that also helps me out a ton as well. And if you do want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this one out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.